We went over the thread where you were talking about the book of Judges with Pastor Wanda. I want to give you a couple of reminders about Judges from the last time that we had the thread. So Judges Part 2, let's recap just a little bit. Some of you will remember this, some of you may not. The book of Judges is a very interesting book because it covers such a huge span of time. I want to remind you, the book of Judges, though it may not look that large when we're looking at the book itself, but it actually covers a span of around 480 years. 480-year time span. Basically, what happens over and over and over, as you talked about last time, is that God will raise up a judge to correct Israel, to remind them to renew covenant, to repent, to do the right things. There'll be a time period of peace and prosperity. Things will go well, and then they go right back into sin and rebellion. They go right back into worshiping the false god of those that were in the land of Canaan at the time. They cry back out. God raises up another judge, and they just repeat the cycle over and over and over. We divide the book this way, as Pastor Wanda mentioned the last time. We divide the book this way. Chapters 1 and 2 is an introduction and an overview of what is happening. An introduction and an overview of what's happening. To remind you, it opens up with Joshua's death. Joshua was the leader after Moses. Just to remind you, Joshua, who was he in the time of Moses? He was one of two spies. He was one of two. He's one of two. Will y'all wake up with me? He's one of two. There we go, thank you. He was one of the two spies, so Caleb and Joshua make it to the promised land. Everyone else has to die off. Joshua, he is the one who actually brings the Israelites into the promised land. When he does this, when he's fighting in war, he's a warrior leader, he is around 80 years old. Because how long was it between the time of the spies going into Canaan from the time they actually made it to the promised land? How many years? 40 years, a 40-year time span. It should have been around 11 days to get from Egypt to the promised land, but they turned it into 40 years because they disobeyed. So it starts this cycle. You have this cycle here on the paper that I gave you tonight. This cycle starts where Israel commits sin. God allows Israel to be oppressed. They don't listen. Israel repents. They cry out to God. God sends a judge to deliver Israel. Then Israel